Hi, in this video I'm going to show you how I made my own Kweebec baby for a game called Hytale. Like everybody, I've been waiting for Hytale to be released. And recently we went through the roller coaster ride of the company announcing that it was giving up on Hytale, and then the previous owners bought it over. Now recently it's going to be released in alpha, which is great news. And since I've been making fan art for other games, I decided to make something for Hytale. I looked through all the mobs and stuff, and then I decided to make a Kweebec. I remember the babies were little like cubes with legs and stuff. So what I've decided I'll try do is make a little walking Kweebec. To start, I need a geared motor to power the Kweebec. I've got these 3 old servos which I blew up all from separate projects that I was working on. I tried to get these to work, but they all had issues. So what I'm going to do is use this 12-volt motor instead and go forward with that idea. For the wood, I was originally thinking of trying to saw wood out of this plank. I don't have a lot of wood available, but like saw little sheets, and then I remembered I had this box. I've actually got 2 of them. I don't know where the other one is, but this is already nice thin wood, so I can probably work with this. I'm just going to need something for the top. The bottom's not serious because that's going to be the legs and you won't see that. Before Hytale came up with its news, I was messing around with gears, and this was the 3D printed gear I made. I'm going to attempt to use the same gear and then do all the gearing using the 3D printers and see how that works. I'm in the middle of designing, and this is where I am so far. I'm just going to update the colors quickly. I've 3D printed both of these so far. And what I was thinking of is using one of these with these bearings, and these bearings do fit, but the problem is this is quite flexible. Then later on I found this. I've got lots of this like spare metal, so what I'm going to be doing is using these bearings, which are from the same set of bearings I bought, and fitting them over. How this works so far is that's the main cog that drives it, which then drives these 2. This one is going to be for the legs. Each leg will alternate direction to each other, and then what it will do is just move up and down. That bar is obviously going to be cut off, so that bar is not going to be there. And then this will be wood or something. I've printed a few more things. I've drilled the holes here, and then I put 3 screws in. I don't need 6. And I also then tightened the motor up a bit. I got that to fit. Took me a while of sanding just to get that to get in there properly, but it fits nice and tightly. And I've got these 2 cogs which go there, and then I've printed one of these. This is the 3rd time I printed it because I kept on getting the circle the wrong size. Then this is going through there, and what I need is a 10.4 millimeter section. So I'm going to cut that with the angle grinder. I just want to clean it up a little bit and then test fit the bearings. But let me just check it. Okay, there we go, perfect. I was worried that it wasn't going to fit in. This fits in nicely. And then this. Yeah, so I need to drill that a little bit more to get that in there. This box is enough to do the sides. So there's a connection there, and up here. I'm gonna attempt to lift this up without breaking it. I'm trying to get this now to fit in there. I've just printed that, and I put a smaller bearing. These bearings are a little bit smaller than that, and then this goes through that way, so that holds this on. And then I've got a little washer that sits there, and then that screws into there, hopefully. I'm making a temporary platform, but I'm making it as good as I can just in case it becomes permanent. I need to grind this at the same angle as that. So what I'm going to attempt to do is hold this. So basically hold it like that. So the next thing is, in order to screw this down, I need this to be glued in properly. And then I can fit that and then get the exact distance and then screw this in. So that means I'm not going to be able to screw this in yet either. So let me just, if I switch this on. Okay. It doesn't help that that's sitting there. I'll leave it there. So obviously that would be going down, but you can see that's the basic idea. I need to put the bearing in here, and right now what I'm doing is printing another set of these two, and that will be for the bar up there. The next one is 11.8, so it's slightly longer. And I think I can just use this existing piece. I've got the second piece there, and I've just got to clean it up. This piece just came off the printing press, and how this works is this goes over there. So this is for the arm. This then screws into there. Then what happens is I've got one of these sticks that goes in there, so it fits in there and glues in. And as it moves like this, there's a connector here which moves like that. There's a piece which connects there and then goes outside and connects to the arm. So then the arm goes backwards and forwards. I've measured the stick in my 3D program and it's supposed to be 8 mils. So I'm just going to make a 10 mil stick for both sides and glue them in. That's dry now. It's the next day. Before I put these screws in, I just want to test run this. So it's not hitting. Yeah, so these things aren't exactly 90 degrees. So if I put it right up against here, it moves these. With the drill press, I get a straight hole down, yes, but the problem is it's always in the way and I can't see what I'm doing, so I'm going to be drilling this over here. So this is like a better spot. I've got all the holes drilled in and all the nuts in. I haven't tightened them crazy, but they're all there. I'm just going to, it's tight enough that it should stay where it is. Now I'm going to test it like that and see what happens. Seems to be okay. So don't go So that's 101, 102. So it's about 3 steps a minute. No, 3 steps a second. What am I saying? So that's about 3 steps a second at 12 volts, roughly. The next thing I'm working on is the legs. I'll do a bit of experimentation here, but what I'm going with now is a 4x4x6. Then the leg is over here. So if I move it, it comes in like that. Okay, so you're looking at it from a top angle. So it's going to be going like that. Yeah. So that's a problem. Because then it needs to come up. Then there it's fine. These both hit the bottom like that. So if I have something that pushes it up before it gets there. I've been stuck on how to do the eyes, and then I came up with the idea of using the top of the bottle here, so the curved area. I want to start making the base plate now that I've got the 2 feet connected. I've measured where this should go now, and then I 3D printed these parts. They've got these 2 holes here which I put 2 dowels in. Barbecue sticks, dowel, same thing. And then they've got 2 holes there as well which will go into the sideboard. So that fits in there. And then those 2 sides then connect. I get my hand out of the way. The one side goes in there and the other side goes in there. So these are all the boards I'm using. That's probably not going to be enough. I do have some extra pieces. So the first step is I need to sand all the tops off to get all this. This is meant to be a color like roughly like that. So I want to sand all of this off. Then once I've sanded it, then I want to plan how it's going together, like as in that's in the front and what pieces go where. I found another plank. It's exactly the right width. I then cut it to the right amount into a square, and I smoothed off the sides by cutting them. So now this is exactly right there and exactly right there. This is still quite thick, but it's relatively flat. And this part actually broke here, so I then glued this together last night and then once it dried I put extra glue on it. So the side is coming here, so that will then strengthen even more. So this part doesn't need to be strong, all it needs to do is guide the leg. What I'm going to do is just trim off the sides and then join these two together. These are the two sides. So what I'm going to do is use the thing I was using for the front to measure the distance, correct distance to cut it. So side 1, side 2, and then this is the bottom piece. So then in theory that goes there. So it needs to be longer, which is correct. And that goes there. These ones are mucked up slightly. There's some slight defects here. So I bought another bottle. I'm going to be a little bit more relaxed when I cut it. But I'm going to basically end up with something like that. I'll try and make them more similar sizes. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to fill them with a green epoxy. I'll mix some green in there. And I'll try probably get a green roughly like that. I took this off and let it dry outside for a bit, but I'm not too happy with this. I want to add some more wood filler to these parts here. I left the side in the sun and it dries quite quickly. So the next problem is that it's not exactly square. So I've cut it a bit more square. It's not perfect. So that's what the eyes are looking like so far. I'm probably going to leave the plastic on. These are roughly the centers of the eyes, so I'm going to start drilling that out. So I've marked out the positions of the eyes. So this one's correct. So this one's correct, this one's too low. And what I'm going to try to do is use this to gouge it out. The next job is to get it so these can go in. So this is about it's more than a 45 degree. It's probably like about a 60 degree. So I need to come down quite a bit. I'm going to now move away from this rasp. I'm going to a smooth line, and then what I want to try to do is get the eyes roughly the same. This is dry now. The next thing I need to do is I need a groove in at the bottom where that fits into. I've just got a glue bottle holder in the backup. I've moved the top around, so I originally wanted that side to be facing forward, but I found that these two sides are actually coming apart slightly as it comes from here to here. They're moving apart, and the head joins up with it. I mean, the top joins up with it much better like that. So there's a few parts I need to cut out. So it comes here. There needs to be a circle area here, circle area here. This needs to be straight down. So that's along here. So I'm going to have to cut out part of the eye, I guess. Wait, let me... I'm going to be drawing the arms now just to get their size correct. I've cut these two pieces and then I cut a further two pieces, and I'm going to, these are basically the arms, and they sit over there like that and like that. So they'll sit about over there. Now what I need to do is just sand them slightly on the side I'm gluing them, and then I need to clean them up and then drill a hole through them. I'm just going to cut these straight now that they're glued together. If I attach this directly to the side like this, it will give me a little bit more space this side, and it shouldn't hopefully affect anything. So I've drawn the rough ear here. It's sort of straight, and then turns, then straight, and then under here it's unknown. And that fits there nicely. I need a circle, an indent here, and it needs to be more over here than it is there. So there's my piece of plastic I'm going to be gluing on, there's the glue, and that's what I'm gluing. While I'm waiting for the glue to dry, I'm going to start doing the wiring and the switches. So I'm just going to do some basic wiring. So obviously from the motor, it's just going to go straight to the back, and then the batteries are going to be back here. And then there's probably going to be a switch down here. The first thing I need to do is take these bottom, well, at least the top of the cogs off. That's in order to get to the wires without burning the plastic. I've just connected the two cables and put the heat shrink there. Gonna tin the ends of these wires, and then I'm gonna put that about over there. And then I'm gonna use 3 batteries in series here. That should give me like, so it's 3.7 volts. So say it's 3.5 volts, so that'll give me 10.5. I'm putting this back just to confirm the position. Push that a bit that way, so then you can see the. And then what I'll do is I'll make it go backwards, because it gets stuck if I make it go forwards. Then you can see how the arm moves backwards and forwards. It's not perfect, but it is moving. I'm going to cut an angle here and here. I think I've got it working a bit better now. I've smoothed off these edges here nicely, and then what I've also done is I've 3D printed an extra part which just fits over here and then smooths that. I've still got to do the other side, so you can see here how it was just straight, and then that's the difference, is it's now smoothed over. And then will be touching. Yeah, so you can see it. Let me do it over here. Okay, so I go forwards, and then the leg comes back, and then you can see it's touching at the back, and it just moves nice and smoothly. There we go. I've got my power supply here, and it's connected to the back directly. Then I've got the Kweebec clamped to this plank, and then the plank clamped to the table. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch it on and then just see how this thing mixed. I might have to, what I'll do is if something goes wrong, then I'll pull the wire. Okay, I've got it at a very low voltage. So what that, getting stuck here. Voltage a bit there. This our leg is getting stuck when it goes up and then when it's going down. And it's getting stuck on the side. Although it is looking improved. But so I need to sand this side. What I've done is I've taken this out, drilled the holes better, so the countersinks, I've drilled it way further in and then screwed it back in again. And then I've also sanded this edge slightly. Okay, so that's 3.2 volts. Just to give you an idea. So I need to get it more loose here. This one's going purely by gravity. That's something else is going wrong there. Let me just check. So it comes over here and then it's getting stuck. This one. So I think that side, yeah, so it's getting cut these grooves for the head so that fits there and that allows this not to hit the top here, and I've tested it and that sort of works. Those are the two legs with the little pieces glued in here. So, and then I just sanded it and it's not perfect but good enough. So I'm going to put the battery in here and then join it, then link it up. Okay, so the batteries are all this side and red goes that side. Okay, I haven't tried to actually fit this, that needs to be that side. So let's see how well my Velcro thing works. Okay, yeah, that's very nice, holds it in perfectly. Screwdriver, and I need that little connection thing for the electricity. So I need that and small screwdriver. Yeah. Hopefully it doesn't muck up. And then switch off, switch on. This still needs like sort of back wheel or something, or wire or something at the back, but I'm just going to put it down and see what it does. Yeah, so the next thing is to try stand the back up and then hopefully it will work. The way it was walking there is exactly what I expected. So there's two ideas I've got so far, is put some sort of thick wires here which bend out and then go out and then paint them brown or something, or put like little like dolly wheels which are made out of wood over here and over there. This is lithium grease. I'm just going to stick some of this grease in the cogs and stuff. Next is the back parts. So that's as high as it goes. So that's the most it sticks out. Now I want the wheel not to be that length, but a bit like probably that high. And then how do I make the wheel? Or the wire? Let me just go see if I got thick wire. So I cut this off the edge of a fence. So I could I just want to do a temporary connection here. The top and the front, I've got quite a bit of wood to work with, so I can screw stuff in here. I just don't know the correct angle, so if I screw this on exactly like that, this might not be exactly 90, so it might not fit on. Off camera, I tied a piece of wire around here and then glued this onto there. It's only glued onto the bottom. You can see that I've got the edge sticking out here, and that's because I wanted the seams to be perfect rather than this to be. So what I'm going to do here is just sand that off, but not now. So I've only glued it on the edge here, so I need to be careful when I take this apart, because once I've taken it apart, then I'm going to re-glue more blocks and stuff over there. This should lift up like that. I just need to be careful of that. Then you can see how I've glued it. So I need to then strengthen that up over there. It dried in the sun for about 20 minutes. And I just wanted to give it a sort of a dry, so then when I stick this on, yeah, so I'll need to cut here a little bit to get that to fit in properly. I'm going to drill a hole there and a hole there at the same point. Then I'm going to drill a hole where I want it at the back here. And then it's going to connect in, and then I'm just going to glue it on like that. It's been drying for a little bit longer. Now what I want to do is start filling in these gaps here. Next ear. So that ear is roughly dry now. This is more dry. Going to attempt to just round this off slightly. got the head back on. There are some horrible gaps here, but it is fitting quite well. I mean, this side fits perfectly. The top fits nicely. I mean, obviously there's that gap there, but that's not too bad. The next thing I want to do is try get the shading correct. So on the 3D model, it's much darker over here, and then it's darker in the corners here, and then it's lighter in the middle. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to do anything to this, but I'm going to practice on my spare pieces of wood. The first idea is just it's dark mud. So the problem with this is it's probably going to dry like a light color, and I might not be able to shade it well. I'm going to attempt to shade it. So go from like dark to like a lighter, so dark color to a lighter color. Got to start so the next idea is the soy sauce. So what I'm trying to do, okay, so just shade it. So that's a nice even color, but it's not that great for shading. It's not mixed properly, but whatever. Gotcha, it's not mixed properly. So can yeah, the water, so it's either dark or light, and it's streaky. I mean, obviously I'm using my finger, which might not be the best way of doing it. I mean, obviously if I use a paintbrush I could probably get it to be smoother than that, but the dirt smooths very easily. The soy sauce, it's different colors from different angles. The dirt is one, so the dirt is a bit dark. This is the oil that I'm planning to use on it. I don't want to varnish it because then it's going to be shiny, and I don't want to wax it because that won't give me the right look. So oil in it should be good. What I'm going to do is just oil this and see what it looks like. So you don't even notice the the soy sauce. The dirt still is looking good. Paint's actually stopped the oil going on. So far I'm going with the dirt. The idea now is to use dirt on the bottoms mainly, and then wipe it up, and then slight dirt on the corners. So I've been looking at fake leaves in the shops and I couldn't find anything even close to what I wanted. I've got loads of these leaves out the back. So this is one option, and then I found these. So what I'm thinking is I drill a hole in the middle, and then I lead the hole to the back. I'm going to start by doing the legs. That's what it's looking like now. I'm going to now test with the eyes. I need to cut off the sides of the eyes so they fit in. I've trimmed the eyes so they should fit in now. I'm just going to use this glue because I don't have any other glue. I've got the baby Kweebec all in one piece now. It's got the eyes in. They still glue in, but they are stuck in there. And I've obviously got the leaf on. So the next thing I want to do is try get it to walk without me holding it. I also probably need to recharge the batteries because I've been running them quite a few times. I'm gonna just take it apart now so I can try. I mistake switch the thing on there. So, oh yes, I want to get it to. I want some sort of rail at the back here. I was thinking maybe putting a, like they have an icelet. They've got like a. Anyway, so what it needs to do is point slightly forward, lean forward slightly, and then what it does is it tends to walk forward. Well, goes forward. Still works. If I make the pole longer, then it won't tip over. What I'm going to try to do is drill a hole through the stick. It's quite a long stick, and then control it from the back and see if I can get it to walk like that. So I've got the stick screwed in there, and then it goes all the way there. So what I'm going to do is hold that side. I've had my first problem. So what happened here is this plate is fine at the back, but it's pushed forward over here. So the whole thing's pushed forward, and that's why it's hitting the front. I hope you enjoyed the episode. Thanks for watching and goodbye.